um, setup today, I'm going to be able to split screen so you can see over my stove. So I'm going to give a couple seconds here to see if everything's working all right. I have a little bit of an echo, so I'm hoping it won't be too annoying. You'll have to let me know if you hear it. I will put the recipe. I'm using a new streaming platform, so I'm going to paste the recipe in the chat here. Let's see. Hopefully that showed up. I don't know if it did. When you get here, say hello, so I know that this is working all right. I'm really going to have to try to work on this sound for next time. But the exciting part is, check this out. I'm going to be able to split screen, so when I'm searing the salmon, I'll be able to do it right over here. All right, so I'm going to minimize this for now until I get there. But today I'm making 1-pan seared salmon with spinach, and spinach with remoulade. And that's just kind of like a fancy name for a creamy condiment sauce that's going to go with it. See. Normally I don't ramble this much at the very beginning. I just want to make sure everything is working. So bear with me, please. Let's see. Hey, Rebecca. Oh, good. So it's actually streaming. I'm trying this new format today, so I'm going to be able to have an angle here, and I have my camera phone set up over there so that I can show you the stovetop too. Hi, Lisa. Is the echoing coming out of my phone? Can you hear it? Is it bad? Because I turned the volume all the way down and I muted the mic, but it's not helping. Let me know. Just got to get out a couple more things. Hi, Catherine. Looking for my fish tweezers, which sounds like a really strange thing, but in case there's any pin bones. Man. No echo. Okay, good. So I'll show you, even though I'm not over at the stove right now. I set up, check it out. So when I'm cooking over here, you'll actually be able to see what's happening in the pan. I'm really excited about it. And I'm a kind of a branding nerd, so the fact that I could put my logo in the corner up there is pretty exciting. Okay, let me see if I can find these fish tweezers. Do you guys like salmon? That is what I'm making today. Man, where did they go? Sometimes my husband moves things to other drawers, and it's a little frustrating. And I was going to get them out beforehand, but I wanted to make sure this was set up right. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to grab the salmon out of the fridge. When I'm making a seafood recipe, I like to get the fish the day before or the day of. So I stopped at the store this morning and got I got an Atlantic salmon. See, now the area I got it from said wild. This says farm raised. Either one, whichever you prefer. I just tend to like getting something sustainable. You can get farm raised seafood that's sustainable. Just kind of depends. So I don't personally enjoy sockeye salmon that much. The texture is a little different, and I like to get a nice crispy skin and a nice flaky but still tender inside. So I feel like sockeye salmon is a little bit more firm, and I'm just not as into it. So whatever type of salmon you prefer, and the great part about this dish is you can cook it however you like it. And I'm just patting the salmon dry. It helps when you get the extra moisture off when you want like a crispy skin. Hey, Rob. Yeah, 2 angles. I'm so excited. Hopefully this will work out well. Oh, they took the skin off of this. Okay, so normally you would get a crispy skin. I didn't know. The guy at the fish counter was a little confused this morning, so. All right. We'll work with it. It's fine. I personally don't love the skin as much as my son does. So whenever I cook salmon, he gets his crispy skin and mine. We call it the bacon of the salmon because it's just like, I don't know, him and my husband really, really love it. So, all right. This is a really quick meal, perfect for busy weeknights. It's only it seems like maybe a lot of ingredients, but it's really not. And when I originally made this recipe, it was a couple years ago, and it was for a sponsored post featuring double cream yogurt by Stonyfield. If you can't find that, I don't have that today. I'm using a different brand of just Greek yogurt. You could also use sour cream. The double cream yogurt is nice if you like the creaminess of it, but you don't like the tanginess that sometimes turns people off from Greek yogurt. 2 announcements. First, tomorrow is my husband's birthday, so can you use another fish? Yeah, just you might need to cook it a little more. Like, I like my salmon kind of medium rare, so you could use cod or whatever other fish you like. You could use shrimp, really anything. You could use chicken if you don't like seafood. So it's just a quick and easy. I like doing this on weeknights. Tomorrow's my husband's birthday, so happy birthday, Dino. Also, on a sad news, I broke my pour over glass this morning when I was going to put it away. I knocked the counter right here when I was taking out of the dish drainer and sliced my thumb. So that stinks, but I'm okay and I'll get a new one. But it's great that the first time I have an overhead like this, I have a thumb Band-Aid. All right. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to look one more time for these fish tongs because I really would like to show you. I'll take my utensil drawer out here. They're small, so sometimes they hide a little bit. I have a lot of tools crammed in this little kitchen. Here they are. So I have a link to these in my Amazon shop, and if you're interested in them, because and I'll paste a link to my Amazon shop in the chat. Let's see. This is the link to my Amazon shop. There's a whole Facebook Live section. These are my favorite seafood tongs. I used to use like a toolbox needle nose pliers that were clean, but I didn't like the point. It would like really kind of rip the fish a lot. So these are flat, kind of like eyebrow tweezers, and you can really get in and pull the bones out if there's any bones. So what you want to do to look for bones is on the fish. It looks like you're kind of, I won't mention which store I got this from. I don't know that I'll go back there, but for fish. Usually, so there's like the middle of the salmon, usually to the side here and here, there's a row, and sometimes if you feel in both directions, you'll feel a little sharp prickle. And even sometimes like at Whole Foods, they'll still miss one or whatever. So it feels like they got them all out of here. But what I like to do is you take the tongs and you lay it flat grab the bone, and you just slide it right out. So thumb shopping this afternoon. Yes, hard work. I'm having a brain thinking issue today, but I was up a little early this morning. And all right, so I have my salmon patted dry. All I'm going to do is heat some oil in a nonstick skillet. I'm using a small one today because I'm just cooking for me. So I'm going to do like a medium-high heat and just throw a little olive oil in there. And let that heat up because you want the salmon to sizzle when you get it in the pan. Normally I would get a bigger piece of salmon, and I would like maybe twice the size, and I would cut it in half. And then I like also cutting my salmon this way. Part of the reason is that usually one side of the fish is a lot thicker than the other. So this way you can kind of cook them both at their own times, and you don't have to overcook one. You just take it out of the pan before this one's done. Or if you have someone who likes theirs cooked a little more, you can also take the skinny end of this and just like fold, it's weird with the half screen, fold it over to make it a little thicker. It doesn't look as pretty, but that is another option. All right, so the other thing, if you don't like skin on your salmon and they didn't take it off for you, you can use a knife like this. So I think it's called a fillet knife, and you just kind of anchor it underneath the skin, and it's really flexible, so it's nice. It's nice to like go in really thin areas and everything. So hey, Jennifer. Okay. A lot of fish stuff here today, but all right. So this, I have it as a one-pan meal. If it's kind of a light meal, if you're just doing the salmon and the spinach. If you want something more substantial, it's great with like rice, or if you have like leftover something else on the side, like roasted veggies, or even just like a nice loaf of bread would be really good. So, did I have next Friday? I'm not going to be live. I might do it. I might do it another day next week, depending. We're going to be traveling, so I don't think I can feasibly cook from the road. So I'm just salting and peppering the salmon. If the skin was on, you really want to make sure you get that side nice and seasoned too, because it adds a really nice flavor to the skin. Especially working with seafood, I'm going to be washing my hands a whole lot today. So put some pepper. Oh, I have had a couple people ask me about pepper grinders. I like this Kuhn Rikon. It's a Swiss brand. I have this pepper grinder in my kitchen, and I also have one in the living room that's got like a little canister inside, so you can swap out, like, I'll show you, hang on. They're just really cool. I like them. So I have the salt one in my dining room, and then I have another pepper one, but this one, so here you take this little piece off, you hold it this way, and you put the peppercorns in there. This one, I have white peppercorns in here right now. It's got a little canister, and it comes with lids, so you can fill this with different types of things, and then just put the lid on. You can swap them out. Like I have one canister in my cupboard that's got like white and black and green peppercorns or something like that. It's kind of fun. All right, I think this feels ready. I'm going to turn on the fan. Hopefully, is the sound still all right? I hope it's not too much. All right, so just going to sear this. If there was skin, you would do skin side down first. And you always, when you're putting it in the skillet, you want to put it away from you. So in case you splash the oil, it doesn't splash on you. And then I tend to use a splatter guard because it makes a mess. It's not that I'm necessarily worried about getting burned, but it can pop up and make a big mess. I have two grinders, one for my smoked black pepper that I make. Whoa, that I've never heard of smoked black pepper. I've heard of smoked salt, but that's really interesting, Rob. All right, while that's in there, I usually do about 2 or 3 minutes on the first side and flip it, and then just another minute or two, depending on how you like your salmon cooked. gonna get a plate to pick it out. All right, so the accompaniment, aside from the spinach, is a remoulade, and that's just yogurt, some sun-dried tomatoes, capers, fresh dill, salt, and pepper. So really, really easy. I can do that in a little bowl. And when you're flipping your fish, if you have a seafood spatula, it's a little longer and skinnier than a normal spatula, and it's nice to like get under the whole fillet and kind of lift it and flip it over. So what I usually do is I just give it a quick look. Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell, but the bottom looks like the color is a little bit blown out. All right, the bottom is starting to get a little bit translucent. So I'm just gonna let that go for another minute, and then I'm gonna flip it over. And normally there would be this beautiful crust on the skin. Oh, good. Rob put a link in there if anyone else is interested. Smoked black pepper ribeyes. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. All right, so you just kind of get in under here. Like I said, this fish is a little less than thrilled with the quality of this fish, but whatever. Put that back on. And then come over here. Is this better, aside from the fact that the color, at least on my screen, looks a little wonky? Do you guys like this format better than the normal? Just kind of curious. Or if you have any other things now that I have the capability to go on the stovetop, if there's anything you would like to see, let me know. So I'm gonna, even though it's just me eating right now, I'm gonna go ahead and make the full batch of this remoulade. So you can also kind of press down with the spatula a little bit and see how much kind of bounce it gives to know if it's cooked the way you like it. A little tricky. All right, so I'm going to turn the heat off. And then you don't want to let it sit in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and I'm going to just set it on a plate. And then leave the oil in here. I think I might turn the heat down, actually, to medium. And then we're going to add some spinach. So an amount like this is a 5-ounce package of baby spinach. It wilts down like crazy. So you can do it kind of in batches. I'm just going to put this lid over the salmon to keep it warm. You can cook it in batches if you want, because it'll wilt down. And if you want it, if it's not wilting down quickly enough for you, you can put some in there and then, sorry, I forget that I'm a little cut off now. You can put some in there and then add just a splash of water and put a lid on it, and that'll help it wilt a little quicker. So I'm gonna do just a couple handfuls. It splatters a bit too. So I would say that's about half of this container. You'll see how fast it cooks down. And then I just do salt and pepper and a little garlic powder. It depends how garlicky you like it, but I usually use like a 1/4 teaspoon for the larger amount of spinach. And you could easily do this in batches if you were making a larger amount of salmon. So you could like cook a whole bunch of salmon and then put it on a platter and keep it warm while you let that cook. So you can see it's already cooked down quite a bit. Okay, so that's almost done. All right, in with the yogurt, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sun-dried tomatoes. I don't use the olive oil packed ones here. I just use the dry ones. Like in my store, they're usually by the produce section, like the croutons and kind of salad type of stuff there. And this, I like this format. You can hire until you can hire someone. Yeah, it's funny. My husband does video production type of stuff, like streaming and broadcasting for a major network for a living, but you know, he's busy working right now while I'm here. So one day maybe I can have him help do a nicer setup, and my son's not here too. Or once my son's old enough, I could train him to do it. So I'm just kind of cutting up the tomatoes. You can leave them as chunky or as fine as you want. I usually like slice them across and then go the other direction to just kind of like a rough chop. And they do stick together a little bit, so when you go to put them in with the yogurt, you could just kind of rub them a little bit so that they sprinkle, distribute more evenly. So the spinach looks good. And like I said, if you wanted to do more, you could just add more. Like, you could throw another handful in there and just let it cook down too. It's pretty forgiving. All right, so I've got yogurt, sun-dried tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of capers. I drain them and kind of roughly chop them for this recipe, but then I also use a little bit of the brine. So I use the nonpareil, I think is how you say it, capers. Love the overhead, Ashley. Yay! I'm so glad, Leslie. Thank you. It's been driving me nuts since I started doing this. Like, how could I get another angle? And my friend Lisa, who I think is watching, she live streams. She does ancestry, like family ancestry stuff. And Lisa, if you want to drop a link to your site or your Facebook group, if you're interested in genealogy, she does great live streams, and she conferences and guests using this. My guest, like using this software, my guest just is my phone over there. But she's got a lot of really great resources if that's something that you're into. And thank you to her for introducing me to the software that I'm using to stream today. So I put about a teaspoon of the brine in here, and I'm also adding the chopped capers. I really like capers a lot, so I put kind of a lot in there, but you know, you can always go with a little more or less if you like. Okay. So at this point, the spinach looks pretty good, so I'm just going to turn the heat off and let it sit. And it's almost done. It only took a little longer than it normally would because, is it blurry for you guys over there? The spinach? I'm just curious, like, what the quality likes. Yes, hi, Ellen. Lisa, drop a link to your site or your Facebook group or whatever. A tablespoon of fresh dill. So I really like dill and capers and lemons together. It's a really nice flavor combo. And again, somebody was asking earlier about using a different fish. You absolutely could just cook it however the fish is supposed to be cooked, like for safety reasons, because I know like salmon you can do medium rare, like I like, if you want, but some types of fish you really don't want to do unless it's all the way cooked through and flaky. But I think like cod or haddock would be really nice, or shrimp, scallops would be good. And you know, you're getting the flavor of the seafood in with the spinach, because you're kind of like almost deglazing the pan, but with spinach. New messages. Yes, lisalisten.com. Spinach angle is a little blurry, might be condensation on the camera. Oh, that's a good point. Let's see. Could also be the light. Hang on, let's see. Close my blind a little bit. It's better than last week, so being able to have that second angle. I appreciate the feedback, though, guys. This is really awesome. I have that this calls for half a teaspoon of kosher salt and then a quarter teaspoon of fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to wait and taste it before I put the salt in because the brine is salty. so you might not need it. So that's all that's in remoulade, and you just mix it together. And it's this nice, like, kind of chunky sauce. Sorry, I might take this Band-Aid off. Hang on. So it's a nice, almost kind of like the texture of maybe a tartar sauce, but it's got the sweet and the tangy bits in there. So yogurt, tomatoes, dill, salt. All right, I'm going to just taste it because I want to make sure it's salty enough. And you can add a little salt, or you could add more caper brine. I think it actually does need a little more caper brine. And the sun-dried tomatoes are really sweet, so it adds a nice kind of punch to it. So depending if I can get my son to spend the night at grandma's again next week, one day I might come on a different day, not Friday. What actually is a caper? That's a great question. Let's see if this. I think it's caper berries, but I know they come in different sizes, and they're either brined or salt cured. I don't know if they're non-salty capers ever. I'm not sure. As I recall, it's a flower. All right, Rob's saying it's maybe a flower. That's a good question. I think I'll write that down because I like updating my posts with more info. I will explore that. Oh, also, I have a project coming up. If you guys have any questions about cheese boards, you can either message me or just pop them in the chat, and I'm going to address them in a future project. So this is it. I'm just going to slice up some lemon. And because I like having a little, whoa, that's a cheese cleaver. That's not a little knife like I thought it was. So if I serve this for my family, I do all this. I put a bed of spinach on the bottom of a platter, and then I just arrange the salmon pieces on there. And one of the other reasons I like cutting the salmon the way I did is because you can then, if some people want a little more or a little less, it's easy for them to do that. So I'm just going to put the spinach in the base here. Some of it, because I left it in the pan a little bit, some of it got kind of crispy. I like that. The last time I made this, I think I served it with some mac and cheese that I made in the Instant Pot. So then let me give you a better view of the salmon. That's what it looks like from searing in the pan. Just going to pop that right on top. And I'll probably save that other piece. I'll probably like flake it and put it on a salad tomorrow. I'll keep it in the fridge. Oh, dropped some there. So a little bit of the remoulade on the side and some lemon wedges. And I like sometimes throwing a little extra dill up on top. So that's it. Wait, let me get my skillet out of the way. All right, stove. There we go. So that's it. It's really easy. I'll show you how flaky this salmon is. Let's see. Capers. Oh, wait. Leslie coming in with the facts. Hang on one moment. Capparis spinosa, the caper bush, also called Flinders rose, is a perennial plant that bears rounded, fleshy leaves and large white to pinkish white flowers. The plant is best known for the edible flower buds, capers, often used as a seasoning, and the fruit, caper berries, both of which are usually consumed when picked. Interesting. Thank you, Leslie. That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to pop into the salmon just so you guys can see how nice and flaky it is. Just kind of buttery, flaky. And then get a little, I call that the professional bite, like when you get the bite of everything. So I'm going to squeeze a little lemon over it though. My son loves doing that too, and he likes coming up with his own like combos of what makes the best bite. Oh my gosh, really good. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm glad. Thank you for the feedback on the new format. I will try to do some more lives that utilize this, and I will add the links into the description. I couldn't figure out how to do it when I was setting it up, but I'll go back and add it. I'll edit my Facebook post. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. I might see you next week, otherwise the week after, and have a great one. Bye, guys.